And the story that I'm going to tell you is a story about the whale, the eagle, and the raven in an inlet. Now, it's called Cascade Inlet, and it's very close to Ocean Falls. Now, an inlet is sort of like this corner here. You come in on a boat, and then there's mountains all around you. Then you have to go back out again like that. Just pretend you're coming in on a boat. That's called an inlet. There was a raven who lived at this inlet. He lived there all by himself. It was a beautiful inlet, and he used to make fires, and he kept himself very warm like that. And one day, the eagle and a whale came to visit him. And they said, "This is a beautiful inlet, and we would like to live here." And the raven said, "Well, in that case, why don't we have a race to see who is the strongest of the three of us?" Okay, now just listen. The raven said, "This is what we have to do." This is the race that the raven decided. He said, the whale is to go down under the water and hold his breath as long as he can. He's not to come up until he just runs out of breath. And he keeps swimming. And the eagle is to, and the raven are to fly without, Jeannie, without flapping their wings. They are to continue flying like this. They're not allowed to flap their wings, and that will show who's the strongest. So, the whale is to do what?
Swim.
Is to swim under the water without coming up for a long time. And if he comes up first, that means that he loses. If the eagle or the raven flaps their wings first, that means they lose. Whoever the winner is gets to live in Cascade Inlet. So the raven said, "But I'm not ready for this race yet. I want you to go away. And you can come back again another day." So the eagle and the whale went away. And then they came back another day, and the raven said, "No, I'm sorry, I'm still not ready for a race yet. Would you please go away again and come back again and see me?" Well, the whale and the eagle went away, and then they came back a few more days later on. And the raven said, "Yes, I'm ready now." He said, "But I have to go out to the back door for a while. I'm not quite ready yet. I have to go out to the back door. Just wait a minute." So he went out to the back, and he was a very smart raven because he knew he wasn't as strong as the eagle. He knew his wings were not as strong, and he knew that he was not as strong or as big as the whale. So what he was doing all this time was that he was looking for a special kind of wood. It comes from the tree called a hemlock tree. It's a big tree, and when it falls down, big chunks of wood that are like a knot, it's very strong. He was looking for a piece of knot like that. And he could only find it from a rotten tree because only then could he pull it out. So what he did is he found 2 knots. And he went in the back and he put them under his wings like that. And he stuck them in there. And then he said, "Okay, now I'm ready to go for a race." And do you know, the whale said, "Okay," he says, "when I say go, we can all go." And the whale took a great big deep breath, just like a balloon. And then the eagle started to get ready to fly, and the raven started getting ready to fly. And the raven said, "Go!" And the whale went diving, and he went down, and he went down in the inlet, around again, once, twice, it was a big inlet, 3 times, and do you know, that was a long time for him to be under the water, and he was just running out of breath, just like you would if you were diving. So finally he just couldn't make it anymore. And he was the first one. He came out from the water, and he went to the shore, and he just went on the beach. And as soon as he got on the beach, he turned into a rock. And then the next animal, remember the raven? What did he have underneath him? He had a big piece of wood underneath him, his wings. Well, both he and the eagle were flying, and the eagle was getting so tired because he was flying for a long time. And pretty soon, he crashed down. He crashed against a mountain. And he turned into a rock too. So, the raven won the race, and he won the right to live at Cascade Inlet. But do you know something that's very interesting about that story is that if you go to that inlet, it's near Ocean Falls, if you go in there and you look on the beach, do you know there's a huge rock on the beach and it just looks like a whale. And do you know, if you look up on the side of the mountain, you'll see a big eagle's nose. It just kind of hangs on. The tip of it is off now because it's so old. But you can see that there's a big eagle nose made out of rock that's still up on the mountain at Cascade Inlet. Now that's a story about a race. And it's a story to show you that the raven is a very smart animal. And he must have thought a long time to think about that trick. That's why he kept sending the whale and the eagle away. That's what happened. Do you think that what he did was fair? Do you think he was honest? Do you think that what he did was good?
No.
No. But he did win, didn't he? Yeah. So the next time, sorry.
He had some
Yeah, he had a big stick underneath it. Both of his wings. He was flying them. You know, yesterday I came out from my house. Brett and I were walking along. And do you know, on Martin's Island down there? Do you know that that's where the eagles live here? The next time that you're out down that way towards the bakery, you look on Martin's Island and you'll see a lot of eagles. Robert, where are the eagles, Robert? If you were listening to me, you would have known. On Martin's Island is where the eagles like to live because nobody bothers them there. So the next time you have a chance to go down towards the bakery, look on the island and watch them. Yesterday I was coming along and do you know this eagle was sitting up on the tall tree.
Attention please, just one or two reminders before students dismiss.
Sorry about what I saw yesterday with the two eagles. This eagle was sitting on top of a tall tree. And he was sitting there minding his own business, and all of a sudden another eagle who was bigger than he was came along. And he flapped his wings at him, and he was screaming at that eagle that was sitting on that tree. Do you know what I think he was saying? I think he was saying, I want to sit on that tree. Please move over. Except that he was sure yelling. And you know, he was flapping his wings so hard, and he kept flying around the other eagle's head. Finally, the other eagle just left, and he said, I don't think that I want to stick around here if somebody's going to bother me like that. So watch the eagles on that island. And do you know, the other day, do you remember when it snowed? Do you remember what I told you about the ravens? If you listen to them, and you listen very closely, what will they tell you about?
It's going to rain or sun.
Tell you about the weather. And do you know, the other day when it was snowing, Brett and I left the house to go sleigh riding. And there were about 8 ravens sitting on the railing in Martin's, just on the way down to the bakery. And do you know, those ravens were talking to each other. They were talking about the weather. I don't think they were very happy with the snow, because they were just sitting there, they were looking very cold, but they were definitely talking to each other. So listen to the birds the next time you're out. See if you can understand what they're saying and watch them. They're easier to watch than the wolves because we never see any wolves, do we? And we don't see whales around here.
My dad heard a wolf and
saying. If you listen really hard, maybe you'll understand what they were saying.
I listened with this day.
Oh, good. Now, Lorena?
One was outside my house and then my mom heard it.
Billy? Billy, did you want to say something?
She said it was talking to another one.
You forgot. Jeannie?
We saw a whale when we went with my dad. And we saw a whale squirting water out.
Really? On the beach or on the water?
On the water.
Okay.
We're coming from a speaker from BC Packers.
They're big, aren't they? They're very big.
When we went to Walter's cafe, and there was lunchtime, we left in the morning and it was holiday and we went there for a couple of days and there were two sea whales and they're right on the other side of the punch and
Oh boy. Did you squirt up at you?
then he stood up on me and my brother touched one.
Really? Oh boy. Hey, Daniel.
I seen white whales on TV last night.
Did you? White ones? Were they pretty and big too? This one?
When I was coming from Vancouver, I saw 3 whales.
3 of them. That's a
by
lot.
a big boat.
Really? Oh my. Yes, Julie?
I saw a whale on TV that had, what was on the beach, what was swimming on the beach and had white paint on it and it died.
Oh no, I wonder what happened.
There's too much stuff in the water.
Really? Oh, polluted. Oh, that's what happens. You know, like if a boat had a lot of oil and it spilled oil in the water, what do you think would happen to the animals when they swallowed that water? What would happen?
Die!
That's called pollution. Okay, I think it's lunchtime now, and I'd like to thank you for listening to me.
Boys and girls, would you thank Mrs. Waterfall?